he put a post out about 12 days before the Olympic Games, a bit of a cryptic post he put on his Facebook and Instagram, where he alluded to some struggles and some health challenges and that he would do his very best. Now, that was kept vague on purpose because anything he says at that time goes right to his competition. And obviously, he doesn't want to disclose if he has a significant medical issue. This is not something you want to disclose. You can either withdraw, which EJ was never going to do, or you can basically stay vague. But to tell everything would be foolish because it plays into the hands. All of these pole vaulters are friends. They all know each other. But when they get onto the arena, they're all lions and they're all fighting. Okay, so we kept it vague. EJ's a bit too humble to really say anything, but it's been a frustration of mine. We've seen through these Olympics, which is not uncommon, a number of athletes pull up and pull out and have various injuries of certain sorts. But what EJ went through in the 10 days leading up to the Olympic Games is quite a shock. He has had a reoccurring issue in the lumbar part of his spine where he's had some issues in the connective tissue, muscle spasming, pain, and the inability to vault. Now, 2 years ago, this started, and he had a procedure done, which is called a denervation, where they basically deaden the nerve that is causing all the issues, and it allows him to compete and go on without any risk to his long-term health. Now, that denervation that was done in 2022, the nerve does grow back, and unfortunately, it grew back at a rate where he started to feel everything again here in 2024. So this whole season has been great inconsistency and having to take days off and having to take medications. Now, 10 days before, 12 days before the Olympic Games, it got so bad that he was unable to vault and he couldn't even run with the pole. And so what we did is we searched for a doctor and basically a neurosurgeon in France who would administer. The only thing we could do was either pull out or have an injection of a cortisone derivative, some type of cortisone to take out the inflammation, deaden a bit the pain so that he could go into competition. And even that's far from perfect. Nobody in France would take this situation because the doctors all said, we don't know him. And this is a procedure that's done in an operating room under a fluoroscope so the needle can be guided into the direct spot that it needs to be guided. So for a doctor to agree to do it, they need an MRI, they need an operating room, they need a fluoroscope, and they need an anesthesiologist because he can't move during the procedure. So there is anesthesia that's administered. So it's not a simple procedure, just a shot. It's done in a very delicate area where they can't hit the nerve and they have to put it in the right position. So 10 days before the Olympic Games, he's not even vaulting. And we have no opportunity to vault. So what did we do? None of you know this. This is only known by a few people. We put EJ on a plane to Italy in over a 24-hour period. He left France, left the training camp in Normandy, flew to Rome, met with the doctors, had the procedure done. And then we put him back on a plane, brought him back to France. He then had to take a 48-hour recovery period from the shot. And then only then did he start to gradually work his way back. The fact that he competed, in my opinion, is amazing. The fact that he came in fourth is beyond amazing. I mean, he couldn't even carry his pole, and we've looked at it, and EJ can share more. He only got one workout session in with the pole before the Olympic Games. And now when you look what happened in the Olympics, and certainly in the Olympic final, I was there, he cleared the height of 595 on all of his attempts. What he did was he came down a bit too close to the pole and he knocked the bar off on the way down. This is a small adjustment that if he had had the adequate practice time, these are the small nuances that would have been worked out. I mean, he was still adjusting to the pole, adjusting to the pit, adjusting to that situation. I can't even state how proud I am of this guy, and proud to know him, proud to work with him, proud to be a part of his team. The toughness and the unwillingness to make excuses. I mean, I think everybody should be so proud of him, and that's the real story. I don't think anybody else in the Paris Olympics was flown out of Paris in the middle of the night to a doctor in another country and then flown back. That's what he went through behind the scenes. He never wanted to really tell anyone about that, but I think that you should know the real story of what he went through and how amazing that fourth place is. So that's really all I have to say. I know EJ's probably upset with me for sharing this, but I believe that people should know, and what he went through to do his very best, and what he ended up with is just downright shocking and amazing, and deserves our respect and our applause. Thank you for listening to my rant there for a minute, and I will turn it over to EJ himself. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna be realistic, it's probably a year. I didn't expect this to happen. It's this year. But sports, you never know. We push ourselves, we push our body to the limits, and things happen. And fortunately, this year, it's definitely been rough. I would say since right after indoors, even indoors, it's like just things after things and things after things. It's yeah, it's the reality of it. But I don't use that to say, okay, that's why the outcome was short of a medal. I believe I'm still fully capable of doing it. I still believe I'm fully capable of winning that, and that's what makes it painful even more. Is that I was I was that close. All things considered, I was that close, and